Games where challenger players go into gold or plat to demonstrate how to carry in your elo are very useful tools for seeing how better players will approach situations that you might find yourself in. However, the common arguments against this are twofold. One, that challenger players are so much better mechanically that you could never recreate the plays they make. And two, that they just happen to get better teammates because of winner's queue or something like that. To address the first point, we've shown before that having challenger mechanics alone does not win you the game, and that decision making is what is going to truly carry. When following plat instructions, I will lose games that I'd otherwise likely win. And when I give instructions to a plat player, they perform much better than their rank might suggest, with zero change to their mechanics. As far as the second point goes, winners and losers queue is a complete myth. You never see high elo smurfs getting stuck in losers queue, even if they get a few unlucky games in a row. Ultimately, we have to embrace that we are the ones in control when it comes to climbing and accept that streaks are just a natural part of playing the game. So with that out of the way, decision making is going to be by far the most important thing to improve if you want to climb, which is why we're going to be testing your decision making by seeing if you can reach challenger conclusions too. And this is the exact philosophy behind our hyper improvement platform at skillcap.com. We cut through the BS and teach you what actually works in solo queue. Why waste your time grinding thousands of ranked games only to learn what we could teach you in minutes? In fact, we're so confident you'll get results that we guarantee you'll climb 5 divisions while actively using our service, or you get your money back. So what are you waiting for? Get the rank you've always wanted and click the link in the description below. We'll be using a game that I recently played in plat elo on Vi, so let's jump right into it. Off the bat, my whole team is setting up to invade, so I make sure to back them up in case of any unfortunate face checks. With all 5 of us here, we're pretty safe in continuing to walk forward. From here, would you A, continue to invade and try to steal away the opponent's blue, B, invade but for the opponent's red, or C, retreat to our top side to watch our blue buff? Let's go over the incorrect answers first. Trying to invade to steal our opponent's blue is very ill-advised. The further we walk into the enemy jungle, the less information we're going to have, and the more our opponents will be able to react by potentially moving members around the map into unknown locations, potentially even invading us on our top side or stacking in a bush waiting to ambush us. Retreating to top side to watch our jungle entrances is a safe play, as it will prevent our opponents from immediately counterplaying our invade with vision of their own, like we just talked about. However, it doesn't use the information we get to our advantage. Because we see the enemy jungler bot side and we've forced her down into river, I now have a faster path than her to her topside jungle. I'll be able to run to her red and at a minimum get a ward. At least I know I won't have to deal with Diana or Taric and will be able to leave relatively safely if someone else is there. Especially once I walk away and see the enemy mid laner, I'm able to scout the area safely and work my way in to take the red buff. It's important to note that I'm still playing around the fact that Trin could be here, so I'm standing in the bush by the red and not walking out until I need to actually start it. We'll see if he's watching for info or not, otherwise she's probably completely unaware that I'm even doing this. From here, I'm able to easily take away the enemy raptors as well and return to my own jungle to clear. I don't want to quiz too heavily on this section since I fully explained my decision making behind my actions here in a guide specifically about invading, which if you haven't seen, definitely check it out. I clear towards bottom and end up getting a relatively free gank onto the enemy bot lane. We briefly spot Diana down here, and now we do have another question. After these kills, what would you do? A, immediately run to Crab to potentially fight Diana, B, go back to Krugs to finish our clear, or C, push the lane with your laners. Going to immediately fight Diana at Crab runs into a few issues. There's no guarantee that our bot lane will want to or will actually move to help. And with both of us being level 3 and my red buff having fallen off, I'm not super confident in that fight. If we go to Krugs, we're still ignoring a huge potential issue. Diana could just come back bottom while our laners push out on their own, and they can just die for free while I can't protect them. I also just concede giving a minor objective over, which I'm not a big fan of. So the correct answer is to push the lane, and then you'll have the freedom to look for the Crab. Not only will your laners be more likely to move with you, they won't die to a Diana gank, and they can secure a good lane state, which is something that as a jungler we always have to be concerned with. In the game, I push the wave and then look to go towards the Crab. I see Diana briefly show here walking away and then turn to hit it. We can see that our bot laners are recalling, so that definitely complicates things. Without backup, would you A, stop doing the crab to wait and see what happens, B, push the crab downwards and hope that Diana can't reach it before you kill it, or C, try to fight Diana aggressively and chase into her jungle? Going over the wrong answers again, C is incredibly incorrect. Being level 3 without a red isn't a sizable enough advantage to win a fight, especially having just used my Q on the crab. Additionally, the enemy bot lane will 100% be here first. My bot lane had to spend time recalling and shoving, while our opponents got a very fast trip back to base. If this fight drags out, we will lose. B is also just wishful thinking. Without knowing Diana's smite status, I could very well just be handing her a leashed crab, which is a colossal waste of time on my part, and I'd be better off just going to my Krugs. A is correct. My smite is almost off of cooldown, and I don't know what Diana will do. So let's see how it played out in the game. I stalled for my smite and baited Diana into a fight. Because she focused on me and not the crab, I'm able to smite it away, gaining the level 4 and winning the fight. Had she gone for the crab instead of me, I could have just tried to contest with smite and back up to my Krugs. Her flash misplay didn't matter too much since I could have corrected my Q with my own flash to guarantee that it connected. But regardless, from here, would you A, recall, or B, do your Krugs? Recalling is rather tempting sometimes in spots like these since the tempo gain can let you snowball, especially with extra items. However, looking at top lane shows that Tryndamere will be able to push uncontested without my laner being there. If I wanted to use my tempo now to invade or contest top crab off my recall, I'm going to have to deal with a top laner, which isn't exactly ideal. Because my options on top side are rather limited, I choose to opt for my Krugs, and as I clear them out and start my base, I pan my camera bottom to see a fight starting. Would you cancel your base to help your bot lane here? While I do have red buff regen to heal me, and Diana is extremely unlikely to be on this side of the map to counter gank, I still do not like the idea of going bottom here. It's very possible that I could get additional kills here, but I also know that it's not super likely for either lane to die in this play, and I do not want to risk staying. If I do make this play, I will be spending way too much time and giving Diana a lot of info on my location. With this, she could easily transition from her topside camps to taking top crab, or even invading and taking away my incredibly valuable respawn Gromp and the blue that I left up in my first clear. Because of this, I recall, and now I want to buy items badly to snowball my lead and force fights with that advantage. So after my base, I head back towards topside to do my Gromp and Wolves. We are forced to make a difficult decision about where to go next now. So would you A, head towards top crab to contest it, B, clear towards bottom to take Raptors, or C, head to Dragon to make sure Diana isn't on it and potentially sneak it away? Heading towards Dragon isn't great. We can clearly see my bot lane recalling here, which means I'm not going to have priority in that lane. If Diana is on Dragon, I couldn't fight, and if I solo it and their bot lane comes, I will just die for free. Clearing towards Raptors is just okay, but because I took my Krugs, I'm a little out of options after the Raptors. For all of the same reasons as the previous options, investing in going bot side is likely very losing, as I can't invade or gank. The correct answer then is A. I'm heavily invested in staying topside due to a couple of reasons. I had the exact time around my opponent's red buff since I took it at the start, and I can easily look to fight for that. My Aatrox is pushing, so invading will likely have assistance, and fighting a top crab is more likely to be advantageous in terms of numbers for us. Additionally, I can protect Aatrox from any gank that Diana might look to do here on top lane. So I end up getting the top crab uncontested, and then afterwards can walk into the opponent's jungle to take away the Raptor camp. In the process, Diana does steal the dragon, but like I said earlier, we wouldn't have been able to contest that regardless, and unfortunately my top laner also dies here. Trynd just finishes killing the minions of this wave, so would you A, invade Krugs, B, go top to catch the wave or try and kill Trynd, or C, go back to your own Raptors? Going back to Raptors isn't great, as they could have been counter jungled by Diana at any point, and we would have no options after getting there. Invading Krugs seems like a decent play except for one detail. We will miss a window to punish top. Seeing where the reinforcing wave is top, we know that Tryndamere needs to stay additional time to break the freeze. If he leaves, he's leaving the lane in a pretty bad position. If we head towards top and Trynd greeds to shove, we will just get a free kill. And if he respects me and backs up, it's still a beneficial result for my laner because his wave will be held for him. After this kill, would you A, look to invade the red, B, push the wave, or C, freeze the wave? Invading the red is incredibly risky. Even though I've already killed top, Aatrox doesn't actually have the ability to invade with me, and Cassio can always move easier here than Veigar. If I push the wave, Aatrox will lose a ton of farm and have nothing to do. He doesn't need to recall as he just died, so while it gets me ahead, it is actively very detrimental for him. While not expecting the third bush to be warded costs me a little bit of time, I'm able to set my top laner up to succeed here, and get my recall off while telling him to maintain that freeze. Because of me noticing a very small detail on the minimap earlier, I'm aware of Cassio not having flash right now. This sets me up for the absolute easiest gank of my life on mid lane, and we need to decide what to do next. Would you A, push out this lane and look for Herald, B, invade Diana's red, C, go back to Krugs to farm it and take our red after, or D, none of the above? Pushing mid in this case is incredibly good compared to the earlier example top. We can open up Veigar to get plates with a long death timer, and he will have an easier time helping us on the other objectives, which in this case is definitely the Rift Herald. I fake like I'm heading back towards my Krugs before heading topside to set up the Herald. In doing so, I actually catch Diana on it, and now we need to decide what to do next. Just kidding. This is clearly she's 40% HP and 2 levels down, just kill her angle, so that's what I decide to do. I'm literally stuck in the wall, by the way. Actually cannot move. That's just hilarious, Riot, by the way. Well, it is rather hilarious that I somehow got stuck in the wall here, which means I get robbed out of the rift and a free kill. Thanks, Riot. It doesn't end up mattering too much, and we carry on with the game. After clearing out some topside camps and basing, I find myself going towards my red, which is stolen, and then find Diana heading towards bottom crab. Would you fight Diana here for the crab? The answer is no. While Diana is 2 levels down on us and I'm incredibly fed, we have to be worried that our mid lane and bot lane are both in base. While we would probably get the crab and maybe even kill her, we'd likely give shutdowns to our opponents, which is definitely not worth it. Because of this, I wait here, and when I see my Veigar teleport mid, I can pivot to looking towards a mid gank. It's incredibly important that I sit out of vision during this whole time, or she would have never walked up to die to this. Unsurprisingly, being patient rewards me heavily. And I'm gonna go invade the Diana now because she is going to unassumedly do her Gromp or blue or something. And her bot lane is not rotating, so... get the smite off that too. And buffer my R. Go towards mid because Cassio can't move. She is dead. And I'm worried about their bot lane, and I'm just gonna run straight through here. He just cages here now. Yeah, okay, buddy. With these follow-up plays, the game's fate is pretty much completely sealed. I'm so fed that I can run around like a wild animal and brute force most plays now, but it was good decision making that led me to this point. As a disclaimer, these actions are based off of what I would personally choose to do in a game. My way of playing is not the only viable way, nor is it objectively correct. However, this level of decision making will get you to Challenger, and that much I can say with certainty. And as a reminder, this guide was just a taste of what you'll find at skillcap.com. If you're serious about improving and want to rank up fast, then check us out, link in the description below. You have nothing to lose as it's a risk-free with our rank improvement guarantee. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.